Welcome to another episode of the Zzzax of Life podcast, a Marvel podcast from Laughing Place. Mike Mack, Kyle Burbank.
You sound exhausted.
Just a little bit, but it's for fun reasons. It was like a family vacation in the parks every day, all day. So so I'm tired, but not quite the same way as I was after like D23 Expo or what else do we have? San Diego Comic-Con, things like that.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But yeah, we're back to normal operations now after a weird episode last week where we didn't have our fun stuff. We had 2 episodes of She-Hulk to talk about. Now it's just going to be, some news, 1 episode of She-Hulk, and then we'll get back into how much is that cameo and another fun draft. What have you been up to, Kyle?
Not much. I've been in the same place. It feels weird. I have like no plans to travel for the next month or 2.
Yeah, that is definitely weird. It feels like we've been all over the place the last, I don't know, lifetime. So
it doesn't mean that I'm not going to travel in the next couple of months. It just means that I'm not planning to.
Right, very true. Yeah, you might end up somewhere next week. Who knows?
Yeah. But
yeah, again, for this week though, back to normal operations. So let's get into some Marvel news. And, fresh off of D23 Expo, there wasn't a ton to talk about. Nothing really big, except for one really big character who appeared in Avengers Campus for the first time. And we talked about him last week because it was revealed at D23 Expo that the Incredible Hulk was going to be coming to Disney California Adventure. And he debuted, I don't even remember. This whole week has been a blur. Let's just say,
what was that?
By the time this
Thursday
episode comes
Friday?
out, it was last week. We'll just say that. So yeah, what did you think? We have a video up, by the way, on Laughing Place on our YouTube channel, and a bunch of pictures on the website and everything, so you can check that out. What did you think of this character interaction? I don't even know if you can really even call it a meet and greet, but
yeah, no, I think you can step up to him, right? Or is you just do it from afar?
Yeah, you can. There's not like a line. I don't know. When I hear the term meet and greet, I kind of picture like the line, they actually set up a queue and then a cast member takes a picture for you and stuff. And this is really just more of a crowd, and he kind of just shuffles around to different people in the crowd. He is roped off though, so you can't really like get up next to him.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah. See, I didn't realize that part. But this looks a little weird, but it makes sense why they did it the way they did, and I think it's really clever. I think it's fun. I like the audio clips. It sounds enough like Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah, I agree.
That's pretty good. And then they've been pairing him up with different, like they had Black Widow with him and stuff. Like that's kind of fun. I don't know if they threw in a "Sun's getting real low" joke. That would have been awesome.
Yeah, he actually interacts with Black Widow and with Iron Man, which I thought was really cool. That's something I didn't expect to see. I'm of the mind that this is simultaneously the coolest thing in the park and also just really goofy. Like it looks so funny when the door opens and he just kind of shuffles out with his arms. Like it almost looks like he doesn't have control of his arms and legs at the same time. Like
it reminds me of Sully. If you've ever seen Sully.
Yeah, it's very similar to that.
It's very similar.
Yeah. So it's like he kind of, as he's walking, his arms just kind of dangle there, and you can picture it's the Hulk. It's these massive arms that are just taking up a lot of space and just kind of dangling. And then he'll stop walking and he'll, move his arms. So you're like, oh, he does have control of them. So I don't know. It looks pretty funny at times, but then you're right. Like the voice sounds like Mark Ruffalo. He's talking to other characters. He's talking to guests, and it's the Hulk. So like when you see him, like in our pictures and in our videos, you can see him like close enough to guess that you kind of get the scale. And he's huge. It's a massive character. So it's really cool to see. It is a little weird with him wearing the quantum suit, but I get it. You can't have him talking and not have the mouth move. It would just really throw everything off. So yeah, I do like it. I'm interested to see this technology advance in the future, but it's a good start.
Yeah, and if you've seen the behind the scenes of how this actually works, it's like they have this, I think it's actually called exoskeleton is what like the code name thing is. And so they just have like kind of like grabbers, like the way you would use like to pick up trash. They use that to control like more articulate hand and everything. So it's really interesting.
Yeah, and credit to the people that operate these? What would you call them? Like, are they like puppeteers? Are they? I don't even know what you call the actor inside the suit.
It probably depends on the union.
Fair. So not information that we'll have anytime soon. But yeah, it's they do a really good job of what I have to imagine is a very, very difficult thing to do.
Yeah, and they said this is going to be a limited time, so it seems like they're just testing this out at first and see how it goes. But yeah, hopefully they'll apply this in different ways.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I'm interested to see the advancement of this sort of thing. Jumping from the parks into the MCU, we learned that Jeff Kaplan and Ian Springer will be writing the Fantastic Four film. This came after Matt Shakman was revealed as the director. I'm not familiar with these writers. Apparently, Disaster Wedding is one of their big credit. Never heard of it, so I don't know if you're familiar with their work at all.
No.
All right, nope. So there we go. But we do have the creative team building for Fantastic Four, and I do like that they are meeting with Matt Shakman, and together they are creating, their creative idea for this film. So it's not like, Shakman is just working off of this script. He's going to have a say in the process, so I like that. But yeah, it is weird timing because we just came off of them giving us absolutely nothing about Fantastic Four at D23 Expo, and we shortly after then learned who the writers are. Not that would have been like a big splashy announcement at that panel, but some more information would have been nice. So weird timing, but I like to see, that they're making progress here.
Yeah.
And Fantastic Four, by the way, is still slated for November 8th, 2024, and kicking off Phase 6 of the MCU. So we're still a little ways off from that film. In more imminent MCU news, we learned that Eugene Cordero, who is probably not a familiar name to you, but bear with me, will have a bigger role in the upcoming second season of Loki. Eugene Cordero plays Casey, who, again, probably still not all that familiar a name, but he was the TVA agent, not really agent, I guess just employee. He was like a secretary, almost. He was the guy who was confused by a fish, like with the concept of a fish, and, used the Infinity Stones as paperweights, and he was really funny, had some really funny interactions with Loki. So, interested to see, and he's moving up to like a series regular. So, I mean, you can speak to that more than I can, having, experience in the TV business, but I would expect to see a lot more of this character.
Yeah, it means I don't know how exactly it works, but it means that he's in nearly every episode, or, he's high enough on the food. Because, yeah, there's different things. Co-star, guest star.
Right.
Different levels. But series regular means they're there for I think it might even mean that they get paid whether they show up or not.
Okay.
if they're contracted for 4 episodes and they're like, oh, we're not going to have you in this one, well, you're still paying me for 4 episodes.
Right. Gotcha. Okay. So it might even actually be more of a behind the scenes thing than what we actually get in the finished product.
But I think it definitely implies a larger role.
Sure.
Like, they're not going to pay him unless they plan on using him a lot. So.
Right. Also interesting that something that came out of this story that I didn't notice, but and credit to Deadline for pointing this out. So the character's name was Casey, and he was Casey in the credits, but then the final episode, and I don't even remember his role in the final episode of season 1, but he was credited as Hunter K-5E rather than just Casey. So I guess he, received a promotion for the season finale, and hence his more prominent role in the second season. So we'll be seeing more of Casey/Hunter K-5E. Outside of the MCU, jumping into video games, we learned that an Iron Man video game is in early development from the Montreal-based Motive Studio and being promoted by Electronic Arts, better known as EA. So another Marvel game in the works. I feel like there's been a lot in recent years. Like, I think since that Spider-Man Insomniac Games title that came out, probably like 4 or 5 years ago at this point. I think 4 years ago sounds about right. And the popularity of that game, there's just been an explosion of Marvel titles, and now we're getting another one here.
Well, yeah, maybe in like 2026.
Sure,
early
yes.
development.
Right.
It's crazy how notorious video games are for delays. Like
Yes.
we write about them all the time. We're like, oh, this one got pushed back another 6 months, and yeah. So I wouldn't. Maybe it'll be faster, but I feel like it'd probably be a while.
Yeah, no, I would definitely say you have a while to wait for this one, but that's in the meantime we have the Midnight Suns game, we have the Insomniac Games Wolverine title. What studio? Square Enix continues to add, and Crystal Dynamics, I believe it is, to continue to add to Marvel's Avengers. So there's just a lot happening in Marvel video games. And then there's the Niantic game that we talked about last week, which is like Pokemon Go, but make it Marvel. So lots of Marvel content in the world of video games right now. And again, like you said, there's no timeline at all for this Iron Man game yet, but like 2026 sounds like a reasonable expectation for a game like this.
Well, it's kind of crazy because of how long it takes. You're like, okay, well, at some point you got to be like, oh, are we going to be like the last game on the current generation of systems?
Right, that's true. Yeah, because you never know when the next platform is coming out. Also, they said this is the first of many titles as this partnership between EA and Marvel. So we'll be getting a lot more Marvel games from the popular video game publisher. Last piece of news we want to talk about today. Marvel earned a couple of awards this past week, and probably not the ones you would normally think of, but they won Toy of the Year awards. Let's see, there were a couple of them that they took. So there was the Construction Toy of the Year, which went to the I Am Groot Lego set. Which again you can see these on laughingplace.com. So I mean, I know talking about toys doesn't really give you a whole lot of context. Probably rather see the images, but it's a pretty cool little baby Groot sort of Lego set. I'm not a Lego builder. I don't have a whole lot of experience with Lego, so I don't know if there's terminology that I should be throwing in there. But like, it looks cool. It's a fun little Lego set. And then the other one they won was Doll of the Year, which went to the Black Panther Wakanda Forever Fresh Fierce Collection by The Fresh Dolls. Sorry, hang on. Black Panther Wakanda Forever Fresh Fierce Collection by The Fresh Dolls by World of EPI Company. I guess that's the full name. So yeah, these are some really cool. You got Shuri, you got Okoye, and it looks like Nakia. Some really cool updated costumes that I would assume we're going to see in the next film. So yeah, those are available. Actually, those are coming this October, so those are not available yet, which does confuse me a little bit as to how they won Doll of the Year. But, we'll take it. The Lego Groot is available right now, and you can find a link to that on laughingplace.com. While we're here, I'll note as well that there is one other Disney owned property that won an award as well, and that was the Collectible of the Year, and that was the Muppets Lego minifigures that took that one home, which I love. I love that these such a simple little thing, earned an accolade like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it for our news. Like I said, not a ton of huge news this week, but coming off of D23 Expo, what did you expect, really? And
Monday, I will say, Monday might have been like the slowest non-actual holiday that I've ever seen. Disney Parks blog didn't post once, but that was the Queen funeral day. So
that's fair. Yeah,
we're in America, but still, it seemed like everybody took the day off for that one.
All right, you ready to move on to our She-Hulk conversation?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, it's going to be a short one, right? Like, I don't have a ton to say about this episode, and that's not to say I didn't like it. It was still really funny, as this show has been. But it was, and one of my favorite jokes in this episode too is that Jen looks into the camera, because this is a wedding episode, and she tells us, like, yeah, it's a wedding episode, and it's coming at a really inconvenient time in the season, but that's how weddings are. And I just thought that was so funny, that because especially after the tease of last week, we were certain we were going to see Daredevil, and they're just like, nope, this is super inconvenient to everyone, but it's happening. So I loved that they threw that in there. But yeah, what did you think about them throwing us a wedding episode to completely tear us away from the groove that we were in.
I mean, I don't mind that at all, and I do appreciate that joke. And, of course, I mentioned that I thought of you when this episode started because I associate you with weddings. Whenever I think of a wedding, I'm like, oh, I'm sure Mack's going to be there. That's all you do as far as I know.
Were you surprised to not see me in the background of this episode?
You know what? I really thought you were going to be in the... I thought you were going to play Jonathan.
I was considered. I just didn't get the role. I got beat out by that little dog.
Yeah. But no, I thought it was fun, fine, predictable.
Sure.
I mean, it's supposed to be predictable.
Right.
It makes the point of saying, yeah, of course.
Right, yeah, exactly.
But no, I guess I liked the other storyline more than the wedding one.
Yeah.
And also, like, the thing about it, it's like... I guess the thing that made me scratch my head a little bit was just that girl is so awful. It's like, why do you care about pleasing her? But I guess that's just part of her character. It's like, oh no, I know this girl from high school, so we're friends, and I'm not going to do anything to upset her, even though she's, has this ability.
Right.
And she still has such low self-esteem that she's putting up with this.
Yeah.
So I realize that it's a character thing, but I'm just like, oh, girl, just don't.
No, I know what you mean, but it's also so relatable. Because like I know there's definitely a lot of people watching that are just like, not confrontational people that would deal with the same stuff from longtime friends, and so this show just continues to be very relatable, and I really like that. But yeah, and I shouldn't say that this episode completely takes us away from the ongoing story, because there is a lot of stuff. You see Jen sort of struggling with everything she's been dealing with, and her the confidence she has with She-Hulk, with the lack of confidence with Jen, that sort of continues in this episode. And then, I mean, there is the bigger, that big bad lurking in the shadows. We get a hint at that, which we'll talk about in a little bit here. But I do agree. I also enjoyed, I guess, what you would call the B story in this episode more than the A story, and that was Nikki working with Mallory Book with a new client named Craig Hollis, who is also known as Mr. Immortal, and he prefers to be called Mr. Immortal, as he lets us know in this episode. And I was so excited to see this character show up. Were you? Did this ring any bells for you at all?
Not the character, but the actor.
That's fair. And tell me about the actor, by the way, because I know there's been some conversation about him. I don't really... the name isn't recognizable to me.
So I don't actually know how to pronounce his name, but it's like David Pesquesi or something like that. I probably butchered it. But anyway, I recognized him from Veep. He played Selena Meyer's ex-husband. Okay. But he was also in Book of Boba Fett. He was the mayor's liege or whatever. So he's future Disney legend now, making his way through the different franchises. But yeah, I recognize him from Veep right away. Nice.
Okay, he may have to sing a Mulan song one time in order to become Disney legend, but
that's a great point.
Yeah, I didn't even recognize him from Book of Boba Fett. Now that you mention it, now I can totally picture it. But I didn't recognize that at all.
Similar, so I guess he's just kind of a character actor, kind of a confident buffoon.
Yeah, no, I love that they included this character. I was so excited for the concept of, Mr. Immortal in the comics is a leader, if you can call him that. He's a member of the Great Lakes Avengers, which, of course, is also the team that uses or utilizes Doorman, Doobie's favorite character. So Doorman has been brought up a number of times on this podcast, so it was really cool to see a Great Lakes Avenger show up, and I thought used so perfectly. Like your term confident buffoon just absolutely sums up that whole team, and it was so perfect. I thought such a for a comedy to bring that character in, which, I mean, you think about his power, it could be very dark. Like the guy has died countless times. But to sort of twist that into a comedic realm, I thought worked really well. I mean, there were some really funny moments where he just gets up and just jumps out the window. And then there's the moment later on when he tries to get up and walk away from the conversation, and Mallory immediately just pushes him back down into the chair. There was some really funny stuff with this character.
Yeah, and I have to say, I also feel like this is a legal comedy trope where you have an instance where the lawyer is defending someone that they outwardly don't like and don't agree with, and they're like, okay, I'm going to do this because, I'm your lawyer, I'm going to get this done, but I'm also going to be, teach you a lesson and tell you that I disagree with you. And that's totally what this was.
Yeah, that was cool. By the way, it was also just cool to see, more character progression for both Nikki and Mallory Book. Nikki has been getting sort of the B story in almost every episode, so we've seen a little bit of that. But now we get to see a little bit of a different side, and we get to see her interact with Mallory, who I think is becoming a more and more interesting character. We learn a little bit more about her in this episode, which I thought we were on the track to your theory. Well, sort of a combination of our theories. Like, I thought it almost looked like there was a love interest sort of thing happening with Mallory and Nikki. And then she's like, "Oh no, I've been married for a very long time." I'm like, "Oh, okay, so now we're getting some information with this character here."
They're ruining my shipping.
Yeah. Well, at least they didn't drag it out. It wasn't a Mephisto situation. They let you know pretty quickly. But yeah, I loved this B story. Loved Mr. Immortal. I hope we get more of him, and I hope he was popular enough in this show to spin him off, because I would love to see a Great Lakes Avengers, even if it was just like a series of shorts or something. Just give me something, and give Doobie something that leads to Doorman in the future.
I mean, I don't think it's impossible. Like, if this She-Hulk and this tone that they have, like, why wouldn't they?
Right?
Like, if you could just have something off to the side that's just kind of funny. I know, oh my God, can I tell you how many stupid YouTube, I don't watch the videos, but they still show up, and it's like, this is what the MCU, like you were saying, like, this is what the MCU has become. Like, oh my gosh. It's like, what is your problem? Can't you guys take a joke?
Right.
Like, it doesn't have to be serious all the time, and you don't even have to watch this, presumably. Like, yeah, there might be small stuff that ties in, but just...
Right.
I don't understand the hostility towards the show.
And to say that
I hope they do more stuff in this vein, and I think Great Lakes Avengers would be an awesome example of that.
Yeah, I totally agree that I hope they do more like this. And then, but to say that this is what the MCU has become when we have Werewolf by Night coming out in like a week. Like, you got a horror special coming out very, very soon. So like, how are you going to say like this is what the MCU is now, when it's going to completely flip genres so soon? It's just crazy. People have to understand. They just have to, back up and look at the big picture as opposed to reacting to what they see in the moment. But yeah, I really like the vibe of this show as it continues with this comedic, it's a straight up comedy, and it's been hilarious. Oh, I have to point out another one of my favorite jokes. Is when Jen shows up to the wedding, and another bridesmaid points out that the groomsmen have all wrinkled their shirts because they were playing Mario Kart, and then you see them playing the Switch in the background. I thought that was so funny.
Yeah. Are you on laundry duty?
Yeah. Yeah.
Ironing duty or whatever.
Right. Yeah, so good. There's not an episode that hasn't made me laugh out loud multiple times. So yeah, loved this.
Servers have quit because of the way I've been treated.
Yeah, that was another one that was just sort of thrown in so quickly that you could easily miss it. Yeah, oh man, it was funny. Then we do get a moment of like, oh yeah, this whole big story arc is this is a superhero show. And actually, I don't know if you felt this too, but I got WandaVision vibes at the end of this episode.
Yeah, I could see that. I didn't think about it in the moment, but now that you say it.
Yeah, I mean, it was very similar to like, I think it was the first episode of WandaVision, right? Where you come out of the TV screen and you just see, now we know it's Darcy.
You find it's Darcy.
Yeah. You see her like closing the notebook. It was very much like that, where you're seeing somebody spying on Jen, and then you see that they are building what looks like a super syringe, I guess, something to extract Jen's blood to presumably create more Hulks. We should mention too that Mallory and Nikki found a website called Intelligentsia that had a whole bunch of like forums specifically talking about how to kill She-Hulk. So clearly, and it's funny how this is working out too, that like, you know, there's this public opinion of the character in the show, but then there's also this public opinion in real life of the show. And so like it kind of just, it feels almost too real. But yeah, so they find these threats, and I like that Mallory is like, we should definitely not tell Jen. She doesn't need to know about these trolls. It's just going to mess up her headspace. And Nikki's like, yeah, sure. And then immediately turns and tells Jen. And then that's when we see there's somebody plotting something, as we saw earlier in the season with the Wrecking Crew attacking Jen and failing to extract the blood. My money's still on the leader. I think that is still the big bad, but I don't know. They could go any number of directions with this.
I don't know anything, so I'm just going to agree with you.
You could put your money on Mephisto. I don't know. Could be worth a shot.
Enough about Mephisto.
Maybe it's Jake.
Like a good neighbor.
not that
He's
Jake.
Right there.
Not that Jake. That's the Human Torch.
Well, that's the one that I had drafted. I thought that's what you were talking about.
No, I meant Jake the Demon that Madison met.
Oh. Yeah, that's a good point. Or the big bad is the guy that she's flirting with. Honestly, I thought Josh was going to be part of the Wrecking Crew. Like, I thought he looked like he... I still think he could be bad.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I just thought we were going to get that reveal in this episode that he was just one of the guys in the Wrecking Crew. But I don't know. We could see something about him still. I mean, she does end the episode eating fries with him. And we know based on previous knowledge that eating fries is an intimate moment for her. So we'll see. Josh seems to have a role to play in future episodes as well.
What do you mean for her? I think
fair. Okay. Eating fries.
General.
Yep, you're right. You're not wrong. I mean, who doesn't love fries? All right. Anything else to add on She-Hulk before we move into our games here?
I missed the tags. This is 2 in a row now.
Yeah.
I just disappointed by Georgia.
I know. Yeah, this trend makes us just hate the state of Georgia.
But I do love that they throw in different courtroom sketches every time. So yeah. I enjoy that at least. Oh,
I should mention too, because I didn't have this pointed out to me until after we recorded last week. Did you happen to catch the sketches from last week's episode with the... when Pug was looking for the Iron Man 3s, there's a sketch of him like trying them on. He's like in the shop, and then in the background you can see a whole bunch of different Marvel character shoe designs.
I think I saw it, but I didn't pay that much attention.
Oh, it was so cool, and I want these to be real sneakers now. There's so many. There's Deadpool sneakers in there. There's Cyclops. There's who else was in there? There were obviously the Iron Mans. There were Captain Americas. There were Spider-Mans. There were so many. Nova was in there. There were like Moon Knight. There were some deep cuts in there too. It was pretty cool.
Nice.
And then there were some funny ones this week too. Yeah, it's always worth paying attention to those sketches. They whether it's little details or just funny jokes, they always throw something else in there. But yeah, I do agree. I missed the tags. I wish we still got that little 10-second whatever clip. All right, you ready for How Much Is That Cameo?
Yeah, I think so.
How much is that cameo?
All right, we have another fun round of How Much Is That Cameo this week, and joining us for the first time in a while is Bekah.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Bekah. I think the last time you were on, we drafted the best Marvel moms, so clearly it's been a little bit.
It has been a little bit, and I'm definitely not prepared for today.
I am not either. We chose a difficult draft topic that we'll be talking about. It's going to be a fun one, though. It'll be fun.
I hope so.
Before we get to that, though, we are going to play How Much Is That Cameo? So, Kyle, who's our cameo this week?
All right, let me play you this person's intro.
Hi, I'm Bob Layton. Most of you know me from Marvel Comics as the guy whose comics inspired the Marvel Cinematic Iron Man and Ant-Man and War Machine, and I could go on. In fact, I'm going to go on. And also the Valiant Universe and the movie Bloodshot that just came out. I was credited as co-creator of that as well. Anyway, if you want a special shout out, just to anybody for anything, birthdays, bar mitzvahs, coronavirus boredom, just you can slog on here and get a cameo from me.
So that is Bob Layton. Do you know anything about him, Mac?
Not really, no. I mean, I've seen the name, just in a few random comics I've read here and there, but that's about it.
Okay, yeah. So I'm not 100% sure whether he's a comic book artist or writer. I get the impression that he is an artist. But anyway, he, as you heard, worked on several books over the years, including ones that have tied into the looks, I assume, of MCU characters. But anyway, I have enough questions of my own. But my question for you is, how much is that cameo?
Yeah, this is tough. I think this is the first comic creator we've had on here, right?
We did have Rob Liefeld.
Oh, true. Yes, that's true. He's more of an outspoken one that I have separated from his comics work. That he's always at every con and everything. So that's what I think of him as. But yeah, okay. So Bob Layton, who I didn't really think of him as credited as the guy behind all the MCU versions of the characters, but I guess that makes sense now that I think about it. He's a writer, by the way. I think he also is an artist too. Yeah, he does both. So
okay, so that's fair. So he's probably done runs that then kind of took the looks from.
Yeah, and I think Invincible Iron Man. And then, obviously, he listed a whole bunch. I love, too, that he was just he's I could continue, and I'm going to. So, okay, this is tough for a comic creator. I'm going to say, I always end up going too low. I'm going to say $45.
All right.
Okay, since you did that, I had two numbers in my head. One, yeah, I'll go with the one closer to yours. I'm gonna go with $60.
Okay.
All right. Well, then today's winner is Mac, because that cameo is $45.
Oh!
I was hoping Bekah would say 55, so we would finally have a tiebreaker. But you know what? It's okay.
Sorry.
Wait, did I say 40 or
the same.
Did I say 40 or did I say 45?
You said 45.
So I got both showcases then, right? It was 45, or was it?
It was 50.
Oh, okay.
Did I say it wrong?
I think you said 45. It was 45. Yeah.
Yes, you did. You said
I
Mac's
apologize.
the winner because that's 45, and I thought,
No, it was 50. I was hoping Bekah would say 55, so that it would be equal distance, so Mac would still win. But no, the cameo was $50. I apologize.
I'll take it. I was
just
still close enough.
Edit it and.
Yeah, just Kyle, just real quick, just give me a very just clear. What was it, 45 or 50? Okay. Just give me a clear
$50.
Today's winner is Mac, because that cameo is $50.
Yeah, no, I'm still leaving all of this in. It doesn't matter.
Oh.
All right. Well, that was still pretty close, though. Bekah was only $10 off, right? So that was was a pretty good one. All right. I know the answer to this question, but are you guys ready to draft?
Yes. No.
Yeah, that's the answer I was expecting. But you know what? We're going to do it anyway, so let's do it.
What if I told you we were putting a team together? Assemble.
All right, so like I said, we have a fairly difficult draft topic that I kind of threw out there on a whim, and Kyle said, okay, let's do it, and here we are. We are drafting the Marvel characters who probably need legal help. So this is going to be pretty interesting, obviously inspired by She-Hulk Attorney at Law. Bekah, you've done this before. You know how it works. Do you want to draft first, second, or third?
I'm going to go third.
Okay, probably a good choice. I mean, I don't think there's any clear first pick here.
No, I was going to say, this is a terrible... No, it's not terrible, but I'm like, Civil War and the Sokovia Accords taught us that basically every Marvel character
That's fair.
needs legal help at some point, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah, no, very fair. I
large
started
pool.
I started having those thoughts too. Like every character I thought of was like, oh yeah, they could make the list, but then I just tried to come up with a better one. So yeah, it was difficult to put our list together, but we were pot committed at that point, so here we are. Kyle, I don't remember at this point. I think you pick first this time.
Okay.
I don't know.
We'll
We've skipped drafts sometimes, and I can't keep
this
track of it.
This is going to be an even number, but we ruined that by doing a couple shows where we didn't do
exactly. So it's difficult. But let's just go with you pick first. We'll kind of reset here.
All right. Well, I'll do everyone a favor and just take the one I'm going to take. Happy. We've been told directly he needs a really good lawyer, so Happy Hogan is my first pick.
Yeah, he was on my list, and I was almost certain you were going to take him. So, yeah, it makes sense. We were told he needs a good lawyer. By a good lawyer, by the way. He specifically said, I'm a good lawyer, and then told Happy, hey, you need a good lawyer. He didn't actually offer his own services, but, you know.
That's true.
All right, so I am up now, and I had a group of three. I was telling Kyle this earlier. As soon as we came up with this idea, there were three characters that came to mind, and then after that I was kind of just throwing darts, and that was about it. But the first one that I feel like is definitely going to need some help in a courtroom, it's the Hulk. I mean, the guy kind of broke Harlem.
Yeah.
Like, I think of all the property damage that guy has to deal with. So, and luckily he has a good lawyer in the family, so the Hulk is going to be my first pick.
Nice. All right. So half serious, half joking. I'm gonna take Mark Spector and then Stephen Grant. Right? Can I do that?
Oh, as two different ones?
Yeah. No.
I mean, I think you could.
I'm just gonna go with Moon Knight because I feel like Moon Knight, with his multiple personalities, probably could use a lot of help in the courtroom.
That is fair.
Yeah, I had Mark Spector on my list.
I didn't. He didn't come to mind for me, but it makes perfect sense that he would. I'm also now just very intrigued by the concept of, like, a legal drama with somebody with split personalities. Like, if one of the personalities is charged with something, how does that, like, I'm very interested in this now.
Well, what was interesting for me is when I put him on the list, I was like, oh, but Jen Walters isn't probably licensed in the UK. And then I was like, well, it's not clients for Jen. It's just people
Right.
in legal trouble.
Exactly.
I'm like, they have legal issues in the United Kingdom as well. So,
Do they have paralegals there?
you know what? I'm going to find that new dream updated. Paralegal in the UK.
In the UK. Do British parachutes work the same? All right, we're going to, before we completely derail ourselves, again, Bekah, you have your second pick now.
Yes, and I'm gonna go with Black Bolt. I feel like he would be. I feel like I'm playing this almost too seriously, but
don't call him as a witness.
Right,
yes,
right,
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, he can use sign language, but I think he would be one that would benefit from some legal help.
Yeah, no, and talk about somebody who definitely can't represent himself in court. That's a good one. Just imagine, I'm just picturing Black Bolt dealing with, like, a parking ticket and, like,
Right.
the frustration that comes with that, and him just trying not to make a sound.
Yes.
I like it. That's a good one. Okay, so I still have the two on my list that were the first ones that came to mind. So I'm just going to go with the next one on it, and that is Wolverine. I mean, the guy drinks a lot, and he's very stabby. So I would imagine he's probably going to end up in court here or there.
Yeah, he was on my list for sure.
I don't know how the Canadian court system works. Maybe I need to consult Bill on that one, but I would imagine he's probably going to need some legal help either way. All right, Kyle, back to you now. You took Happy Hogan with the first pick. Was that your entire list, or do you have any names left?
I have a few names left, including some themed ones, but I'm going to go ahead and take Kamala Khan next.
Oh, okay. I'm curious for your reasoning on this, because there is a good comic book-based reasoning.
I don't have a good comic book-based reasoning. I have, liability issues. She tried to save that kid, but did end up dropping him.
Yeah.
I feel like if they wanted, if they ever needed money, they could come after her. And damage control was after her. And if they have any actual government ties, and that's bad news for her. So yeah,
I like
Ms.
it.
Marvel. What's your comic book tie?
So there was a story arc in Marvel Comics called Outlawed, where Kamala, operating as Miss Marvel, obviously, was trying to save the day, and she got hurt real bad. She ended up in a coma, and then they created a law that they called Kamala's Law that outlawed underage superheroing. So there you go.
I didn't read that, but I remember hearing about or reading about, yes, the underage superheroes.
Yeah. So there,
forgot.
Perfect example right there. That works out very nicely.
And then for my next pick, I'm going to go with someone. You just mentioned how Black Bolt probably couldn't defend himself. I am going to go with someone who probably thinks they could, but maybe they shouldn't. Vision.
Nice. Okay.
Ooh, I like that.
That is, you know what? Now I just want this. I want She-Hulk to now become a show where there is a cameo every week and she's just representing a different hero. Because what are the laws like for somebody like Vision if he's not human? I don't. Oh man,
right.
I'm so intrigued by this.
And his ties to the Westview or Anomaly.
Yeah, it's a good point. Although, does he have any ties? I don't even know. This is so difficult. Now I just want a show about this.
Yeah, I think that would be interesting.
I like it. That's another good one. The third name on my list is still there. This was actually the first one that came to mind, but then I realized the other two were probably a little bit better. But Deadpool. Come on. That guy is he's just an absolute mess. He's going to get himself in a lot of trouble and definitely not going to win a case on his own. So Deadpool's going to need some legal help.
Yeah, I can totally see that.
And probably for something stupid like robbing a taco truck, but still.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Or maybe we were talking about parking tickets with Black Bolt. Just missing, forgetting to pay something like that, and
yeah, exactly. It would absolutely be something stupid. He would get away with murdering 20 people, but then get a parking ticket.
Right.
All right,
Okay.
Bekah, back to you for back-to-back picks to round out your draft.
Yes. So kind of in line with people who probably could represent themselves, or like Kyle was saying with Vision, I was thinking some of the, if they were on Earth, some of the Asgardians might not know rules and stuff we have. I figured Valkyrie, she could be in, have really good intentions, and just might wind up needing some sound advice from someone who's a little bit more familiar with our legal system.
That's a very good one. I had Thor on my list for very similar reasons. Also, just because that guy has no care for lawn maintenance, so that tends to cause a lot of damage that way. But yeah, Valkyrie. Same concept. Being from Asgard, not understanding the laws makes perfect sense. That's a good one. What's your fourth pick going to be?
I have several names on my list that I could still go with, including looking over the Marvel character list online, just of all of the characters. I think though Johnny Storm is probably I'm going to go with Johnny Storm.
Okay.
I could see him not paying attention to what he's doing. He's on fire, messes something up for the wrong person, and
Yeah, probably I you know how there's this is going to take a dark turn, but there's the difference between murder and manslaughter. Is there an inadvertent arson? Is
right?
that?
Yes, exactly. So yeah, there we go. I'll put Johnny on my draft.
I like it. I had a different name on my list for similar reasons, but I'll talk about him in the honorable mentions, because the one that I want to take now is probably just getting busted for being a peeping Tom of sorts. I'm going to take the Watcher.
Okay.
He's just watching everybody. He's going to get some complaints. That guy's going to end up in court.
For sure.
I don't know.
You scared me for a second, Mac.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. No, you continue your thing.
Okay, no, just I don't know how you can, accuse somebody of something like that when they have like omnipotent powers, but somebody's going to complain at some point.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and mention my honorable mention now, and then tell you why I didn't pick them.
Okay.
So I was trying to think of like specific crimes that I know that different characters have committed. And so I was thinking Yondu for abducting an American citizen and taking them not just past state lines, but to different planets.
Right, but you cannot. You also can't accuse him of cannibalism. So that he didn't eat Quill. So there's that. That works in his favor.
Yeah, but his death means he probably doesn't have any legal troubles left to settle.
Fair.
So in the spirit of She-Hulk, and especially given this episode, I, for similar reasons to the Watcher, was going to take Doorman for privacy concerns.
Yeah, that's a good one. And I think you're the first person on this show, other than Doobie, to draft Doorman.
That's so funny that you bring up Doorman, because I was looking through all of the characters, and on the little bio they have on the website, it mentions, of course now I've lost it, that the Great Lakes Avengers changed their names to the Great Lakes X-Men or something to avoid some legal trouble.
Yeah.
So it's just funny that, Doorman. There you go.
Yeah, that's great. That is a good choice. I like the Doorman pick there, and Doobie will be so proud.
I hope so. Hopefully he doesn't sue me for copyright infringement, because then I'll need Jenna Walters' help to...
Right, exactly. And we will be frantically tweeting at Tatiana Maslany, and she will completely ignore us for a long time.
That's so
all right.
sad.
Bekah, any honorable mentions left on your list?
I did have, and now I closed it, but there it is. I was thinking Venom, Eddie Brock. I don't know why, it just seems like the type of character.
Yeah. He absolutely fits the bill, no question.
And then I also came across Harlequin Hitman. With a name like that, you definitely need some legal representation in the courtroom, right?
Harlequin Hitman?
Harlequin Hitman. It's a comic, from what I can tell, it's a comic character. And this man and his wife both assume the name at some point.
Yeah, that is a name that I have to Google. That is not one that I am familiar with.
Well, then I'm glad I didn't pick that. And then I also thought, kind of in line with everything's blanking right now. Oh, with Mark and Steven, multiple personalities, Mystique. And she appears as all these different. She's a shapeshifter. Yeah,
I should have taken the scrolls.
This week's scroll.
Oh, that would have been so good. Yeah, now I'm regretting everything I've done. And then Howard the Duck, because...
Oh, yeah. Of course. That's a good one. Harlequin Hitman.
I also could have gone with Kamala Khan. The other reason for Kamala Khan was that she's a mutant, and that would have been really hard to say a few years ago.
Yep, that's fair.
Yeah.
Very meta reasoning.
I got it. I like it.
For the ones left on my board are Echo.
Okay.
And Hayward from WandaVision.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking, kind of in line with Echo, I was thinking if you were talking Americans with Disabilities Act, you could have, Professor X and Daredevil, Nick Fury, perhaps, needing, not because of something they did, but because things things weren't available enough to them, or there wasn't enough, so.
Right, more big picture stuff.
Yes, exactly.
My only issue with the list you just gave is Daredevil definitely doesn't need any legal help. He's got it all under control.
That's true, yes. Sorry, no, you're right.
But no, otherwise, I'm completely on board. So, similar to your Human Torch pick, Bekah, I had Iceman on my list because all that ice that guy leaves behind, somebody's definitely going to slip on that and get hurt.
Liability.
Yeah. And then J. Jonah Jameson, just for the constant slander in the Daily Bugle. I mean, he's
Very
got to be facing some trouble
Actually, if it's written, it's
libel. Sorry. Well, he also has a podcast at times too. So
there you go. I guess it depends on which version of J. Jonah you're talking about, whether it's slander or libel. Sorry, I just had to throw that in as a stupid.
No, I appreciate
journalism
it. I appreciate it. I also had the U.S. agent just for gimmick infringement.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
He's going to get sued by Captain America because that seems like his MO.
You want to go over our teams real fast?
Oh, yeah, good call. Let me do that real quick. Kyle has Happy Hogan, Kamala Khan, Vision, and Doorman. I have the Hulk, Wolverine, Deadpool, and the Watcher. Bekah has Moon Knight, Black Bolt, Valkyrie, and the Human Torch. So some good picks there. Bekah, thanks for joining us again.
Thanks for having me. This was more fun than I was allowing myself in my mind. Sorry, this all sounds ridiculous, but
no, you gotta remember to just not take this podcast too seriously. We don't, so.
But one of these days, I want to actually stand a chance to win in the poll.
Oh, this is anybody's game, so who knows. All right, that's going to do it for another episode of the Zzzax of Life podcast. Thanks, everyone, for joining us again this week. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at Zzzax of Life Pod so you can vote in this poll for who you think won this draft, which I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. This is such a ridiculous draft topics that I think anyone can possibly win this one. But we'll be back next week with some more Marvel fun. In the meantime, Kyle, why don't you tell us about Entertainment Earth?
Yes, so Entertainment Earth, you could go and purchase all sorts of toys, accessories, and other fun things. And if you go to ee.toys/LPFan, as in Laughing Place Fan, you'll get 10% off in-stock items and free shipping on orders over $39. You could also just use the promo code LPFan at checkout. And before we go, the other thing I wanted to mention is that we are now putting these podcasts on the Laughing Place YouTube. So I have a feeling that some people are probably hearing us there right now.
Yeah.
But if you're listening on a different device and for some reason you want to go watch on YouTube, you can do that too. And you can leave comments there, which is a benefit because you can't really do that on Apple Podcasts except for reviews.
Yeah, and if you are listening on YouTube, we are available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and what else? I don't even know what other podcast platforms people use.
All the things that I was allowed to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, whatever we were allowed. But yeah, so you can check us out there if you want to listen on any of those other platforms as well. Be sure to check out laughingplace.com for all your latest Marvel news and Disney news in general. And like I said, we'll be back next week for some more ridiculousness as well as a conversation on the 7th episode of She-Hulk?
I lost track.
I think next week is episode 7.
Right.
That sounds
penultimate, right?
No, we have 9 episodes. So what?
Right.
The antepenultimate, I think, is Doobie's term.
Yes.
Yeah. So
that's 3 Doobie mentions. It's a little too many.
It's too many.
But, we're going to rate it in.
This is a Doobie-heavy episode for an episode that doesn't have Doobie in it.
All right, now we're up to 5. Now we got to wrap it up.
All right, time to wrap things up. We'll be back next week, everyone. Bye.
Bye.